Okay, 3, 2, 1. What is happening, guys? In this video, we'll create this simple landing page, and our main focus will be actually on this navigation bar and on this drop-down menu. So let's just hit a quick reload and see what this page does. So we can see our title. We have a slide animation here. So it comes in from the left. There's the subscribe button right here. And then our main focus is on this drop-down menu. So if we hover over this drop-down menu will appear. If we hover over secondary drop-down menu, the next drop-down menu will appear. And if we hover over this, then the sub menu will appear. Okay, so let's get into the video and see how we can realize this. And just really quickly, before we get into the video, I will really much appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. This really helps me out a lot. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell, so you'll be always notified when I post out new content like this. Okay guys, so let's jump into the video. So I already created a folder and drag and dropped it into my Visual Studio Code. And as always, I will be using Visual Studio Code for my code editor. And within this folder, I just created another folder with image, which holds my image, this background image right here, with a little before and after. Get it? Then I created an index.html, a nav.js, and a style.css. I will also using Font Awesome. So if you don't have an account, you can create one, or you could just go to bootstrapcdn.com /font awesome / and just hit on this icon right here and copy in this HTML link. So just copy this one in. And after we create our boilerplate, I will just insert it about our title. Then also link up our CSS file. And down here, I'll also link up my JavaScript file. So script with the source of nav.js. Okay, so after we have this, we can now give this a title. Let's say drop down menu. And now let's start creating our HTML first. Now, this section right here of the page will live in a header. And actually, I forgot to show you that this is also responsive. So you can see as we go to 1080 pixels, the items change the font size. And if we go to 768 pixels, then this menu button appears here. And if you click it, then the drop-down menu will change into a mobile format. Okay, now let's close it with the X. And now let's get into our HTML. So first of all, we'll create a header tag. Now within this, I'll just create a div with a class of container. Now a nav tag with a class of nav. And then within this nav tag, we'll create another div, and this will have a class of menu icons. And actually this will hold these two icons, so the hamburger and the X icon. So let's create our div with a class of menu icons. And within this div, we will just create a few icon tags, some Font Awesome classes. So we'll first call the FAS, and then the FA bars, and then a second icon, I.class of FAS, and another class of FA times. And now let's actually open this up using live server. So right click, open with live server. And we should have our two icons right here. Let me just take a very quick look. But sometimes the CDN doesn't work, so you can either go to Font Awesome and copying your kit. So I'm just really copying my kit. Okay, now it's working. So if you go to fontawesome.com, you can really quickly create a free kit for your beginner kit. Okay, now getting back into our HTML. And now under our div with the class of menu icons, we'll create an anchor tag. We will leave the href empty, and then we will give it a class of logo. And this is where this logo right here will live. Now within this anchor tag, we'll now create another icon tag. And this time we'll give it a class of FAS and FA-home. So you get this little home icon. Now after our anchor tag, we'll now create an unordered list with the class of nav_lists. And within this list, we'll now create our first drop-down icon. So this one right here. So now we'll create a list item with the class of drop-down. And within this, we'll create an anchor tag, an href that will stay on the same page, and we'll just type in here drop-down. And now still within here, we'll create another icon tag, the class of FAS, FA-card, -caret, -square, skew, and -down. So we will have this little drop down icon right here. After our anchor tag, still staying in the same li, so within our first li, we'll now create another ordered list. So this time we'll nest a list item and a list within a list. And this will be our first subclass. So our first submenu. And for this we'll create a class with the class name of sub-menu. And within our submenu, we'll now create another list. Now within the first list item, we'll create another anchor tag, which will go nowhere. So let me close this up so you can see this much better. And this would be submenu, actually subhome. Then we will insert right here a icon tag with FAS dot FA dot card, actually dot caret -square, and down. So we'll create the same drop down icon again. You see right here. Now right after our first list item, or actually after our first anchor tag, but still within the same list item, we'll create the next unordered list. And this will have the class of, and this will also have the class of submenu. Now we'll create another list item, within this anchor tag, and we'll just type in submenu. And we'll copy this one more time. And for the third time, we'll now insert again this icon tag right here. So this is where our third submenu will live. And now right after the anchor tag, we'll create another unordered list with a class of submenu. And within here, we'll just create 3 list items. Anchor tag, list item, and we'll call this submenu. And we can actually copy this 2 more times. So we have our drop down with the submenu with 3 list items, then another submenu with 3 list items. Now let's search for this one right here, because I want to create under this one another two items. So this would be, this is our first unordered list. This is the drop down, the first item. So let's go down underneath of here. Now create 2 more list items. Actually, I could just copy these 2, paste them right within here. So this, no, I think I'm too far out of it. This should be right here. So let's see. We had our first UL, first item, then we had this one. This one, is it? It's this one. So there it is. This means we have to take this out and actually put it right in here. So underneath our second list item, and this would be just menu, and up here. Okay, so that's it. Now after a header tag, we can now create a main tag with the class of main, and within this is where our background image will live and this text. Okay, so let's create a section tag, and we'll give this a class of text, and within here we'll create an anchor tag, an h2 tag, type in real estate, and after this we'll create the h1 tag with your dream home. And after this, we will create another h2. I will give this a class of sub text, and we'll type it in here. Where you live is how you feel, and then create a anchor tag down here, the class of learn more, and btn. And within our anchor tag, we'll now create the icon tag with the class of FAS and FA minus play. And within here, we'll type in learn more. Okay, so that's our button. Okay, let's start styling this. Actually, we still need our entire navigation menu, and this should be right here after this list item. So we'll create another list item with the anchor tag, and we'll give this a class of btn, and we'll type in here about. Now let's copy this 3 more times, and the second one will be gallery, then this will be services, and the last one will be contact. Okay, so I think we have all that we need for navigation. The last thing that we need is the footer. I'm just going to copy in here the footer tag, or footer, and it's actually pretty simple, paragraph tag. Within here, I will type in my name, Meinhard, then within a span, media, and out of the span, we'll now create a copyright symbol with copy and 2020. And please don't forget to subscribe to Meinhard Media. Okay, now let's continue on with our CSS. Now, first of all, we'll, as always, do a general reset. So start, before, after. All of this should have a padding of 0. Margin 0, a text decoration of none, so we get rid of all of the anchor tag decorations, a list style of none, and a box sizing of border box. That's pretty much it. Now for the body, just going to assign it a font size of 16 pixels and a font family of, what did I choose here? Nah, I don't like this. Let's go with Sergio, this one. Okay. Now let's take our class of nav and let's give it a width of 100% of its container. Now let's also give it a height of 5 rem. Now we'll display it as flex, and we'll align the items to the center. And I also want to give this a box shadow of 0, 0, 10 pixels, 2 pixels, and hash of EEBB33. This golden shadow. So there is actually where our navigation will live. Let's really quickly take care of the header. We will also assign this a width of 100%, a height of, actually position of absolute. This would be from the top 0 and from the left also 0. So this will position it absolute to the entire HTML right here. Okay, and let's also change the Z index to 2. So this should always stay on top. Okay, now let's continue on with our class of container. We'll also assign this a width of 100%, and we'll give it a margin of 0 top and bottom, and auto left and right. And now we'll just give it a bit of padding of 9 and 1.5 rem. Now for the class of menu icons, so let's just take a look right here. So we will tackle on this part. Let's take this class of menu icons, and first of all, to give this a cursor of pointer. So I'll hover over them, the cursor will change into a pointer. We'll position them absolute. From the top 50%. From the right 1 rem. And we'll change the color to a white color. Now let's increase the font size to 2 rem. And also let's give them a transform translate on the y-axis of -50%. And then let's give them a z-index of 3, so they will be over the navigation. And we'll display them as none. But I will actually comment this out for now. So if I comment this back in, they shouldn't be displayed. Actually, they are gone now, so the X and the hamburger menu. So if I comment this back in again, they're underneath here. I know this is all clunked up, but we will take care of this. So actually, let me just take care of the body part right here. And first of all, let's take care of the footer. I will just copy in the footer CSS and just go over this really quickly. So we assigned it, we took the tag, the footer tag, let's go down to our footer, took the footer tag, give it a background color of dark, a height of 5 viewport heights, a position fixed, from the bottom 0 and from the left 0, a width of 100% of its container, the color is gold, the font size is 1.2 rem, the font family, letter spacing is 2 pixels, the font weight is 500, the text align is center, and for the span, I actually want the color of white. So the media was within a span tag, so as soon as I took the footer tag and right within here the span tag, we changed the color to white. The text we transformed the text from lowercase to completely uppercase, and we changed the font size to 1.1 rem. Okay, now let's take care of the background so we can just focus on the navigation after that. And let's comment this out with main section. Now we'll take the class of main, we will position it relative, we'll take the background and give it a background linear gradient to the left, and now we'll give it two RGBA colors. So RGBA with 60, 40, 15 and 0.5 for the opacity. Then we'll give this another RGB, so another RGBA with 37, 25, 2 and 0.5. And now after this comma, we'll position our image. So we go to our image, select our image, and as always, you will find all of this in the description down below. So the entire code to download and also the image. And now let's position this, and for this we're going to use the shorthand. So background position center, then center again. We don't want it to repeat. And for the background size, we will choose cover. And now let's take our main and give this a height of 59 viewport heights, because we already gave the the navigation 5 viewport heights. So the rest of it should be from 100 should be 59, and a width of 100% and a margin of auto. So height 59 viewport heights, width 100% and margin auto. And now let's take care of the text, and after that we can continue on with our navigation. So for the text, we give this a width of 100%, position absolute, because we already positioned the parent container relative, so we can position this now absolute. From the top 50%, let me actually change the color first to white, and from the left also 50%, and they should push it now into the middle. We'll give this a text align to the center, a font family of, not the font style, the font family, Giorgio. And now let's create an animation. So let's create a keyframe. For this we just type in add keyframe. Now we give it a title of title. And for the keyframe we want it to go from 0, so from here, to 100%. So from the left with minus 100% to the left 50%. We do this by 0%. So at 0% the animation should be at this left with minus 100%. And at 100% of the animation, it should be left minus 50%. So in order for the animation to take hold, we now have to call it within our text. So animation, the name of the animation was title, and we want the speed to be 3 seconds. Okay, now let's take care of the H1. For this, I'm going to just type in H1. So within the class of text, the H1 should have a font size of 6 rem and a margin top and bottom 2 rem and 0 left and right. And that's actually it. Now I just forgot to make a transform translate within our entire text, and this should be on both axes, minus 50% on the x-axis and minus 50% on the y-axis. This should be 50% because it now translates exactly to the middle. Okay, so that's it for our animation. Now let's take care of our navigation. And for this, we're going to go, actually going to go up here, down here. So navigation. Okay, now first of all, let's take care of this logo right here. For this, we're going to take the logo class, give it a width of 2.5 rem, a height of 2.5 rem, a background color of red, we'll display this as flex. We'll justify the content to the center. So this will be pushed right here. We'll align the items to the center. So the icon is now in the center of its container. And now let's take care of the border radius, and for this, in order to make it round, just tell it border radius 50%. And now it's round. Now let's also increase the padding to 1 rem. Now let's take the next class, let me just go up here, of FA home. So the icon itself. And we'll give this a font size of 2 rem. A color of white. So #FFF. And we'll give this padding of 0.5 rem. So it will have a bit of padding within it. Actually, let me decrease this to 1.5 rem. There we go. Now let's take care of the nav list. So of this entire list right here. So we take the nav list class, the nav list. Actually, let me just create a bit of space between these two. So I'll push the footer completely down. And if after I save, it jumps back up, so that's not a good idea. So nav list, and we'll display this as flex. Now we'll take the nav list class again, and all the allies within this, I will give them a padding of 0.6 rem. I will position this relative. Increase the margin to 0 top and bottom and 1 rem, actually 1.1 rem left and right. And we'll give them a border from the bottom to border bottom of 1 pixel solid and a dark color. So #111. And let me change this to white, and so you can just see it right now. So these are the list items. I will change it back to black then later on. Now let's take the class of dropdown. And we'll give this a background color of #EEBB33 and a border radius of 5 rem, or 5 pixels. Now within this, we'll take the submenu class. And how do I actually define this submenu? So submenu, and within the submenu, we'll give it a padding of 0.5 rem. Actually, yeah, I will leave it at 0.5, and I will just change it if it's too small later on. Now let's take the nav list again, and within this the li, and within this the anchor tags, all of the anchor tags, and we'll change the color to #111, so black color, a font size of 1.3 rem, then we'll increase the font width to 500. We increase the letter spacing to 1 pixel, and also text transform to uppercase. Text transform to uppercase. also want to display them as block. And we'll do this so no matter where I click, this is a block element now. Now let's give them a padding of 0 and 1.5. And now let's take the same class, but when we hover over them, the color should change to white. The font size should change to 1.1 rem. The background should change to a dark color. And we also want to have a transition to all elements of 0.2 seconds and ease. So let's check this out. So when we hover over them, background changes, the color changes, and with an ease of 0.2 seconds. Okay, next up, let's take care of the submenu. Take the class of submenu. And we'll give this a color of hash FFF, a width of 15 rem. So you see already this is pushed out, and also this. We'll display it as block. We'll position it absolute. We'll give it a border from the top of 3 pixels solid. 3 pixels solid and the color of white. We change the background color to a RGBA of 37, 25, 2, and for opacity 0.7. Now we'll position it from the top 10 rand down. We'll give it a transition all of 0.5 seconds ease. So when we'll hover over it, it's going to take 0.5 seconds and it will appear. And now let's hide it by giving it opacity of 0, visibility of hidden, and a background color of RGBA of 238, 187, 51, and 0.6. And if I comment this out, so we can still see them. Actually, I'm going to leave this as it is and comment it back in again a little bit later on. Now let's take the class again of submenu. Now we'll give it a pseudo class of before. Now we'll type in a content, we'll leave this empty, and we want that before element it should be positioned absolute from the top -2 rem, and from the left 2 rem. And now let's give it a border of 1 rem, solid, and transparent. And you will see why I'm doing this, because now I'm going to give this a border right and color of white. You see already this triangle appearing. So before content, position absolute, from the top -2 rem, from the left 2 rem, border, so all around border of 1 rem solid transparent, and the border right color of white. Now let's take the next submenu. So we'll copy this and copy this again. So within the submenu, should really change the classes on this. So submenu. Now let's position this from the top 0, from the left -2 rem, and again let me just give this the same border. So this. And now let's take this class again. So within the submenu, and we'll type it in here now, border top none. We'll hide the top border. Border left 3 pixels, solid, and the color of white. I'm going to give this right border right here. Now let's position this from the top 0 and from the left 100%. Okay, now let's take care of the nav list items. So, nav list allies, when we hover over them, so when we hover over the allies, we want the direct descendant of the submenu, so the class of submenu, to come down from the top with 2.5 rem. The opacity should go back to 1 and the visibility should go back to invisible. Okay, so let's try this out. If I comment this back in, you see this all coming in. Now for the next 2 menus, so for these 2 menus, in order for them to be positioned a bit differently, let me just give them a few extra classes. So where was this? Submenu and submenu. Let's just be sub 2 and sub 3. So let's take the submenu, the second submenu, and we're actually just going to copy this right in here, and we want the nav list items. When we hover over them, the second submenu should be positioned from the top 0.1 rem. And the next one, also the same. Okay. We will fix the most of the problems here when we take care of this with the media queries. And actually for the navigation, the last thing I want to do here, actually the last couple of things, is for the body, take the overflow on the x-axis, and this should be hidden. There will be no overflow on the x-axis. Now we also give them a few classes of btn. And now so we give this list item, this ones, So this one's class of btn. So let's go ahead and style them. So btn, to change the background color to this gold color. We'll transition the background. Transition the background color now forgot an R day with 0.6 seconds. Because it's transitioning, and we'll display this as inline block. Now let's take care of the borders. So border radius of 5 pixels. We'll change the color to white. When we hover over them, the interior color will change to white and the background color will change to black. We increase the font size to 1.4 rem. And that's pretty much it for the BTNs. Now let's take care of this learn more. And this actually had a class of learn more. How did I define it? Just really quickly take a look. So this class right here, learn more, and for the learn more, we'll now give this a background color of red, a margin from the top of 2 rem, a all-around padding on 1.1 rem. We'll display it as inline block. We'll give it a border of 2 pixels solid and the color of white. We increase the font size to 1.4 rem and the font weight to 600. Now I want, when I hover over this, so let's take this class, and when we hover over it, the background color should change to a green color. So RGBA 5 104 18, and for the alpha 0.8. Let's take a look at this. When we hover it, the background color changes. Okay, now let's take care of the responsiveness of the page. And for this, we're going to, first of all, create here comments. So responsiveness, we'll just res. Now create a media query, and we'll create this for the screen, and with a max width, of 1080 pixels. We want the class of nav list items, and within this the li, the anchor tags, to have a font size of 0.9 rem. And now we're just going to copy this, paste it in right here. Now for when this goes under 768 pixels, we'll take the nav list class, we'll position it fixed. So if we actually go on under this, so we'll position all of this fixed. From the top 0, from the left 0, we should have a height of 100 viewport heights. A width of 100%. We will now change the flex direction to a column. We'll justify the content with space around. We'll align the items to the center, and we'll change the background color to RGBA. Wait a second, this one. And we'll now display it as none. Now we'll just comment this after it out. Okay. Now let's take care of the submenus, because they're going out of this our initial width of the page. So let's take the submenu and we'll position it initial. Give this a border of 3 pixels, solid and transparent again. A border left color of white. Let's take a look at this. So this is the border color of white. A margin to the left of 1 rem. You can see that the margin increases now. They are nicely pushed to the right. And a max height of 0. Okay, now we'll take the submenu class and now type in before, and now we'll display this as none. Now take the class of nav list items again, and when we hover over the LIs, we want the opacity to go to 1, visibility visible again, and the max height to be initial. And now let's comment, actually not this one, stay on this, and this height should go now to its initial height. Now let's take the menu icons so dot menu icons, and we'll display them as block. And we'll display the class of FA times so that X right here so we'll take the class of f8 times, so this X, and we'll hide it, so display none. Now we'll take the nav class, and we'll assign it a active class. And when this class is triggered, then the class of f8 times should be displayed as block, and we'll take care of this with JavaScript. And we also want the class of nav, when it has the class of active, the class of f8 bars, so this one right here, to be displayed as none. And this will mean that if the X is displayed, this shouldn't be displayed, and when we click on this, the X should be displayed, and also the navigation. And for that we need the class of nav active and the class of nav list to be displayed as flex then. And now we could comment this one out. When we click on the hamburger menu right here, nothing happens. And for this, we're now going to open our nav.js file, and please don't forget to include it right here. And now we'll create a const. We call it menu. And now from the document, with the query selector, we'll grab onto the class of menu. Menu icons. Now we'll create another const, which we'll call nav, and we'll grab from our DOM with query selector the class of nav. Now let's take this variable of nav and add an event listener to it. And when we click on it, with the help of an arrow function, we want the nav to be added a class list, and it should toggle the active, the class of active. So let's see if this works. Boom. Okay, so let's take care of this. So the X works, the hamburger menu works. Let's go back into our style. And I just want to take out this max height of 0. Okay, this shouldn't be displayed at this width, so wait just a second. We surely have some comments that we have to take care of right now, so display none. This is happening, this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. And when we go down here, we click. Perfect. Okay, so let's check this out again. If you hover this, the submenus appear. These are responsive. When we refresh, this is animated in. If we make this smaller, this appears, the submenus appear, and we can close it up. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Okay guys, so hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Please leave a comment and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell in order to be notified whenever I post a new video. So see you guys next time. Bye bye.